like I said, I'm selling books. You know, he's like, boy, you have 2 minutes to get off of my property. And I read the situation. I knew what it was. And normally when you're selling, like, you have a comeback for everything.
Yeah.
But I knew this
Yeah.
was not the time for that. Man, I'm a black guy. I have Florida tags on. I'm in the Midwest. So a lot of Midwesterners, I guess at the time, they associated Florida with drug dealers and just, there's like a negative connotation with Florida. I'm black, you know, so sometimes there's a negative connotation with that. There's kind of a lot of stuff going on. So it wasn't an issue in 99.999% of the time. Everyone was awesome to me, but there were times when people were not. And this is one of those times. So I pull up to a house during the day. So the day is, because most parents either work or they're just not at home, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
during the daytime, you're just trying to set up your evening time, because that's when everyone's home. You have father and mother home, and that's like the ideal situation to sell on, because they can't say, "Oh, I got to talk to my husband, I got to talk to my wife." They're both there, and they can make a decision together, kind of a thing. So your daytime is spent like canvassing the area, kind of figuring out who's got kids, what kind of cars the parents drive, so you know when to go back, and that evening time is called gravy, because that's where you really make your money. So it's daytime. I pull up to this house in the country. Um, I knock on the door. Uh, a little girl comes out. She's 10, 11, something like that. And so I'm very aware I'm black. I got Florida tags. Like, I'm not trying to have any issue. I'm talking to a white girl. This is what's going on. So I'm like, I'm selling books. Are your parents home? So I got right to it. She's like, no, they're not home. They'll be home, like probably after 5 or 6. I said, okay, thanks. I'll come back. Thomas, I swear to you, that's all I said to her. I didn't say anything more or anything less. And I know that I didn't say any more or less, because I say that in all of the situations, because you don't want to be getting into conversations with kids that, first of all, they don't buy. They're not the ones who buy the books, and you're not selling to them. And there's nothing good to come of a conversation with a child. It's just not a good thing. So I leave. I go on about my day. Evening time comes. It's gravy. I see the house. You got a pickup truck. That means dad's home. These are generalizations, but they're still wisdom from generalizations. Pickup
Mhm.
truck, dad's home. Minivan, mom's home. I'm like, perfect. I see that they have a kid, because I spoke to her. They have at least one. I spoke to her. Mom and dad are probably home. This is an ideal situation. So I pull up, knock on the door, and I hear like a big dog like barking. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay. But we deal with dogs all the time. Like, you have to know how to deal with dogs. It wasn't the fact that I had a dog wasn't an issue. So the door opens. The father comes to the door, and he's holding the dog by the leash, right, with one hand at the end of the leash, and the other one really close to the neck of the dog. The dog is barking and lunging at me, and I'm like, that kind of will happen, but the person is usually saying, "Calm down, boy. Like, he's okay. It's fine. It's like,
Yeah,
that's kind of
yeah,
what's happening." But this guy's not
yeah.
saying that. He's like, um, "I heard you came by my house today." I was like, "Yes, sir. I'm selling books, and just talking to the families in there." He's like, "I heard you spoke to my daughter." I was like, "Yes, sir." Again, like I said, I'm selling books. You know, he's like, "Boy, you have 2 minutes to get off of my property." And I read the situation. I knew what it was. And normally when you're selling, like, you have a comeback for everything.
Yeah.
But I knew this
Yeah.
was not the time for that. So I pick up my bag, and I start walking back to my car with my like with my back to my car, so I can see what's happening, because I don't know what's going to happen. When I got about
Mhm.
halfway out, he lets the dog go, and it was a Rottweiler, and the
Yeah,
dog starts
exactly.
running after me, and I'm like,
But
"Oh crap, I gotta go." So I start running. I turn the corner, I jump into my truck, I throw my bag in the truck, and the dog is like running towards the truck. Now, when you're
Like
selling books in the
sprinting.
summer, yeah, when you're selling books in the summer, you can't be like in an air conditioned car and then in the heat and back and forth because you get like, I don't know if it's heat stroke or it's just that temperature up and down will really mess you up. So it's just better to stay
Mm.
hot because you're just going to be hot and your body can just maintain the fact that you're hot. So we sold with our windows down, never used AC, that kind of a thing. The dog turns the corner and my window's down. So I'm like, oh crap. So I start rolling my window up as fast as I can.
Oh yeah, the old roller one.
I had an S10 pick. Shit, show how old I am.
The manual ones.
Yeah, rolling up my window. It was full manual car, stick shift, man. Everything was manual. I love that car. S10. It was great, great memories of that. The dog's mouth is like in my car, like snapping at me, and I'm like rolling my window up. I finally get the window up, and the dog. I'm like making eye contact with the dog, and like he and I both realize at the same moment that my other window was down. So he runs to the dog runs around to the other side to try and get in on the other side. So I like
Yeah.
jump across my bench seat and I'm rolling that window up. Same thing. Dog's mouth is gum. It's like the wildest scenario ever. And I pull out and I get out of the driveway and I'm just like, I can't believe that just happened. That was so
Like what the
unnecessary.
hell just happened?
What just happened? That was like he he knows what he was doing because if I had ill intentions, I wouldn't go back when clearly the parents were there. So
Yeah.
that's that's my craziest story. But I gotta say this because Southwestern has changed my life for the better. It was probably top three best things I've ever done in my life. I learned so much about again myself, people. At the same time, I tell you that story. I can't tell you how many people have invited me in for dinner at night and
Yeah.
send me with food and see me later on and they're waving at me and treat me like a rock star. I mean, it, so that's the bad story. I also made a ton of money doing it. You know, my last summer I made 40 grand in 3 months. So I came back after that. That was not. I know that didn't happen in my last summer either because I came back because I know what it is, and I'm not part of like life and success is like you can't. I'm gonna let this guy win. I'm gonna like take this opportunity away from myself because I had a bad interaction with someone. No, like you learn again what you're made of. Not only I went to
Mm,
the next house
yeah.
right after it. It's like I'm not gonna let this guy, you know, ruin my
Yeah.
opportunity. You know.
It's not for the faint of heart. Like the average person would be like, "Oh man, this is it. Like I can't do this anyway."
Now, granted, if that had happened at my first house of my very first summer, I would
Mm.
have quit because
You were already like seasoned.
yeah, I was a seasoned guy. I had people under me who were looking up to me. That's another reason why I couldn't quit. Not that I didn't even want to quit after that. It was we would trade who has the craziest story. And there are
Yeah.
stories crazier than mine. And not all of them
Yeah.
were like racial or anything. And not I mean, I was one of a handful of black guys who did the program. Most got people were white or not black. So and they have crazy stories too, you know? So it's like the point is like the division they people want to make it seem
There's some
like
people out
everybody is
there.
like that guy, and that's not the case. I had to talk
Yeah.
to thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people to get the one guy who's going to do that, you know?
That's like one. Yeah. It's not as common as the internet makes it out to be.
100%.